What's up, boys and girls? We just finished watching Unsane, and we thought this was a pretty damn good movie.
7.5 is our rating for this film.
I'm not crazy!
He's here. Or maybe it's all in my head.
Now, Unsane is an effective psychological thriller that is well-paced and well-acted.
This movie was also only shot on iPhones.
Now, Unsane follows Claire Foy as she's involuntarily admitted into a mental institution where she's confronted by her greatest fear. It leaves the viewer wondering what's real and what's fake.
This movie was shot entirely with iPhones, and the type of people that would like this movie are people who like psychological thrillers, like Shutter Island, Secret Window, and also people who like Steven Soderbergh movies. This movie has tense moments, great mood, great acting, and it'll keep you guessing through the entire film whether she's crazy, whether you're crazy, or whether we're all crazy. Now, for our full review, we love this movie because it is a psychological thriller and it's something that we don't see too often. Shutter Island, Secret Window, those are two, prime examples of this, and we love those type of movies that keep us kind of guessing through the entire thing. Now, this movie is about this woman called Sawyer Valentini, and she's involuntarily admitted into a mental institution.
There's been some kind of mistake.
By signing this, you've consented to voluntary commitment.
I am being held here against my will.
Do you know how many calls the cops get like that every week?
Those are from crazy people.
And while there, she actually sees her greatest fear, which is a stalker that she had 2 years ago, that she left Boston, moved to a completely different city to get away from him.
Right.
But he shows up, coincidentally, in the mental institution that she's in.
Right.
Now, we as an audience, we don't know if this is true or not. She's in a mental institution, she's been taking pills.
Yeah.
What's real and what's not?
And the great thing about this is that you do see the stalker throughout a lot of this film. In a lot of other movies where they kind of depict stalkers, it's more of a horror aspect. It's like, oh, he's lurking in the shadows, he's under your bed.
You barely get to see him,
Right.
You barely get to hear from him or anything. But
and when you do, it's like just crazy getting thrown at you, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're another fucking weirdo. That's great, But this movie kind of played with a different dynamic in terms of that whole stalker aspect.
This movie, we get a lot of one-on-one contact with the stalker, David Strine, and Sawyer Valenti, and they actually talk to each other quite a bit in the movie, and it kind of not so much humanizes him, but you can kind of see where he's coming from, and he's not in the shadows. He's directly in front of your face, and he's interacting with the person he's stalking.
As Ken said earlier in the short review, this film was shot all on iPhones, and I believe that this worked to brilliant effect on Steven Soderbergh's part, because not only was he able to get those intimate interactions between characters that you might not get with a bigger, film crew or set or anything like that, it also gave this movie kind of a dingy look, a bled out color kind of look. It didn't have any eye-popping visuals. It was kind of this tannish, greenish look that the iPhone really captures and brings out, and you really feel that hopelessness being in this mental institution the entire time.
Joshua Leonard, who actually plays the stalker, commented that the use of the iPhones allowed him to feel a little bit more comfortable acting.
Right.
It was just these smaller, cameras as opposed to the big film ones that he's used to, and a lot of people who are operating and all that. A lot of times it was Steven Soderbergh that was just holding the camera right in front of him. He felt that it made him more comfortable acting in a space with his acting partner.
Right, well, like you said in the interview, iPhones are used for everyday things, so it doesn't feel as like much of a production. You're kind of just like, oh, this is a friend of mine, and we're kind of just going through this exercise or something like that.
You'll go into the movie knowing that it was shot on an iPhone, and you will watch the first part of it, and you'll just realize, and you start to look like, oh, this is what an iPhone looks like. But as you watch, you'll start to forget about it. You'll start to dive into the story a lot more. You'll start to dive into the acting a lot more, and you'll even forget that the iPhone is the camera that's being used because the story is so great, and you're just in it. The tension just enthralls you. Now, we like this movie, and we like the tense moments. There were definitely a lot of tense moments in the movie, but I feel like there were a lot of times that I was just watching to see what happens next.
Right.
It wasn't armchair grabbing. I wasn't exactly on the edge of my seat. And even though it was a thriller, I feel like it lacked a little bit of that feeling that I usually get with thrillers. And I think that if they had a little bit more of those, if I cared about the main character a little bit more, which we'll get into later, I would enjoy this movie a lot more.
But I think for that reason, it takes away a little bit of the tense moments because you're like, if they die, they die.
He didn't set out to make us sympathize with her, which was interesting because, like you said, if she dies, she dies. We didn't really care whether or not she lived.
Right. Or if she was crazy or not.
Or
You're
if she
kinda
was crazy.
If she is, great. If
Yeah.
not, okay.
But I feel like if he gave us a reason to have a best interest
Right.
in the main character, that we would care about her more. We would care about whether or not she was going to die at the end, or if she was going to survive, or if she was crazy. Like I told you before, when we watch Marvel movies, like when we
Right.
watch Black Panther, you already see him in the trailer for Infinity War. So while you're watching Black Panther,
You know he's not gonna die.
you know he's not gonna die. And in this movie, there was no precedent set before because this is
Right.
not a sequel. This is not based on a true
No.
story or anything. We have no idea if she's gonna survive or die. But the thing is, in the end, we didn't really care that much. A bright spot of this movie was Jay Farrell, though. I
Jay
really liked
Farrell
his
was
character.
awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't expect his dynamic in the trailer. I think we did a trailer reaction to it, and we almost said that he looked like a boyfriend or somebody.
Yeah.
Else. And he was a support system for her within this mental institution, but his dealings and what his motivations were actually digged a little deeper, and to kind of counteract us not feeling a lot of tension. One thing we did like about the film was that it pushed the limits. Like it was like, oh, he's not gonna go there. No, whoa, he went there.
Steven
Like,
Soderbergh went there.
He kept pushing, and like you're kind of just like, okay, you're not gripping your armrest, but you're also like, where the hell is this going? So it does have some points on that, but I think it could have been even better if you're like this the whole time trying to figure, okay, what's gonna happen? But most of the time you're like, okay, I can see where this is going. Oh no, didn't see that happening.
It doesn't get boring.
It doesn't.
Now, have you guys seen this movie? Have you guys seen this movie? Or you guys seen a movie like Tangerine that was also shot on iPhones? What do you guys think of movies shot on iPhones?
Do you notice a difference? Do you like the difference? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
Please comment below with your thoughts. For us personally, we like it. I feel like it's a good change, and I feel like you can do you can just have a different feel for a movie. And with a movie like
Right.
Tangerine, with a movie like this, iPhones are perfect for it.
And I feel like it's inspiring as well, because you understand that you can get your phone, a couple friends' phones, and you can shoot a short film, and who knows what could happen if it's a good story. I feel like it's inspiring to just, for low budget film. It doesn't have to be a big budget as long as the story's good.
Well, that was our review for Unsane, Steven Soderbergh's iPhone movie.
iPhone movie! And you can also follow us on Instagram, Black and Yellow Movies, at the same name.
What's up, boys and girls? We just finished watching the movie Unseen. And what the fuck did I say? Unseen? Is that a movie?
Probably somewhere. Maybe
Somewhere
in Cambodia.
in the world. Why specifically Cambodia? Why Cambodia? Did you say that?
You've never seen anything from them. Like, do they have movies?
Hong Kong. Yeah.
Hong Kong, yes,
Hong Kong, that's
exactly.
English.